Frank, why do you hate the NFC West?
I think the NFC West is well represented in my top four. They're half of the top four, so that's fine. Look, the Eagles, everybody's talking about their offense, and that's fine because that's what we do with the Eagles. We just focus on whatever's negative. Their defense showed up for the first time on Monday night and just absolutely shut off Green Bay's water. That's good for them going forward. Yeah, the offense was bad. I grant that, but overall, if the defense is going to play like that, I mean, it's lights out. Like, the Eagles are the best team in football. They're the most reliable team in football. The defense looked great last night for the first time since really last year's Super Bowl. Eagles are going to win that division by like 6 games. Yes, you could dwell on a negative about the Eagles if you want, but I choose to be positive. Fitz, you know me, I'm always Mr. Positive around here. So Eagles defense showed up and solidified, of all things, their ranking of number 1 for me. It was an ugly win, but it was impressive.
I just want to say, for the record, Caroline on the show yesterday said, and I close quote, because this isn't an actual quote, it's just close to the spirit, Frank better have the Seahawks or the Rams as number 1 in his power rankings. Caroline, I mean, come at your boy.
Yeah, I mean, I know one coach in the NFL that wouldn't go for it on 4th and 6 with 30 seconds left from their opponent's 35-yard line, and that's Sean McVay. He wouldn't do that. I know another team that has a pretty good defense, and that's the Rams. And I know a team that can actually score more than 10 points, and that's the Rams. And the Seahawks, for that matter. Walk me through why the Eagles and not the Seahawks or the Rams, who are also 2 incredibly complete teams.
Yeah, they're both. Look, these 4 teams are really, really good. We have just completely skipped the Colts, by the way, which is kind of appropriate because we're just gonna ignore the Colts all year. That they just keep winning games, and Jonathan Taylor should be the MVP and whatnot. But look, the Seahawks are very good, but we do have to acknowledge they have blown 2 home games. I mean, they did lose some games. The Rams, they lost to the Colts. They can't be ahead of the Colts, right? Like, or they? So it's just one of those, like, all 4 of these teams could be number 1. They really could. The Colts have a great argument for it. The Rams are very balanced. I think Matthew Stafford's playing the best ball of his career, which is saying something. The Seahawks are incredible. I did think about putting the Seahawks number 1. I did, because I've been riding for them for weeks now. I'm saying this is the secret. I think the secret's out. Like, the secret is out that the Seahawks are one of the best teams in football and Super Bowl ready. So, yeah, any of these 4 could have been number 1. I don't think there's really a lot of big difference between these teams.
Okay, well, then let's go to the next 4 teams that Frank probably hates in the NFL. The Chiefs at 5, Lions at 6, Broncos at 7, and Patriots at 8. Oh. Okay. I unfortunately watched that Thursday night game with the Broncos. Unfortunately, we all had to watch that game. That was disgusting. That was terrible. That set football back generations, Frank. The Broncos at 7?
The defense is still there. The defense played great. The defense has played great all year. I've said over and over, we're going to repeat this just so you know how confounding the Broncos are. I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again. The Broncos 2 losses this year. At the Colts with no time left on the clock. At the Chargers with no time left on the clock. That's it. 2 very, very, very good football teams. That's how close the Broncos are to being undefeated right now. But yes, the offense, will it show up? Will it please? I had to knock the Broncos down a little bit. I'd been the high person on them. I heard this from Denver radio, that I was the highest person of anybody that does power rankings on the Broncos. And it kind of put me in a bad situation because I'm like, can I really knock them down after a win? And yes, the answer is yes. Yes, I can, because that offense looks so bad. A great showdown coming up in Denver on Sunday. Chiefs at Broncos. Think of it this way. If the Broncos win that game, they're 3.5 games ahead of the Chiefs with 7 to go. Like, the Chiefs' run of AFC West titles might be over at that point. So we'll see. But at some point, the Broncos have to show up on offense, I guess. Like, they're 8-2 with this trash offense. So maybe they don't. Maybe this is just the 2000 Ravens, and or the 2015 Broncos, for that matter, who are just going to ride a defense all the way to some special things.
I mean,
here's where I'll push back a little bit, Frank. You bring up the narrow losses, and that's fair. Narrow losses to the Colts and the Chargers, 2 good teams. I can also bring up the very narrow wins over bad teams. Barely beating the Raiders, taking 33 fourth quarter points against the Giants to beat them by 1 point. For every game they've barely lost, there's also an equal number of games they've barely won.
Yeah, that's why they're really, really tough to figure out. Really tough. But this team, we do have to acknowledge, This defense is top 3 in the NFL. Like it is phenomenal. If the offense could just play at an average level, man, I wouldn't want to play this team in January. That defense is nasty.
I don't disagree, but as we bring up the next group, like you in your next grouping, you have the Bills, the Packers, the Ravens, and the Chargers in 9 through 12. The hard part for me when you look at that is like right now, you know me, Frank, I always say this, on a neutral field, and I'm taking as bad as the Bills have been, that I don't trust the Broncos to beat the Bills. I don't
trust the Bills? You trust the Bills right now?
I don't trust.
Did you watch?
I don't trust Bo Nix at all. I don't trust Bo Nix to do any. I trust Bo Nix to throw to the other team more than I trust Bo Nix to throw. I trust Bo Nix to miss like 4 key throws a game. I don't trust. I trust the Ravens
only
more
4.
Than I trust the Broncos. Yeah, well, that's
I always use this term if I'm doing my honest power rankings, like the power rankings I squirrel away for my dabbling purposes every week. Ravens might be top 5. I'm going to say this right now. What's the date today? It's November 11th. I will say this: the Ravens are winning the AFC. I'm not the AFC North. The Ravens are winning the AFC. They're the only team I trust. I think they are going to get on a roll here. They are going to win their next 5 games. Look at their schedule. They're going to win the AFC North by 3 games. Like this is a done deal with the AFC North. Now we're just talking about bigger things. I think it's going to be karma that Lamar Jackson, when they're front runners, when they're the 1 seed, when they're the best team, they can't get it done. This season, when they started 1-5, is the year Lamar Jackson gets to a Super Bowl. That's why I'm planting that flag right now. The Ravens are going to end up winning the AFC. I would have, if I was up big, I would have had the Ravens in my top 5. I think they're one of the 5 best teams in football. I just couldn't because the record doesn't come close to reflecting that yet.
Oof. I like it, Frank. I like it. Let's get to our next group of teams. We've got the Bucks, Bears, 49ers, and the Houston Texans. Okay. The Bears above the 49ers? How much do we really trust the Bears?
You guys, okay, guys, you two.
Like, are the Bucks and Bears like that close in terms of teams? Like Bucks and Bears playing a neutral field tomorrow. I think the Bucks are 6.5-point favorites.
The Bears have 4 wins over trash teams on the last play of the game, basically. Like,
the Bucks have a lot of. If you remove some of those
do.
last-second wins on the Bucks barely beat the Jets at home. Okay, like I will say this, you guys, I love you both. You know that. Defense matters in the NFL too, okay? You guys are just, this offense stinks. Defense does matter. Not that the Bears are any great shakes on defense, but they won 6 of 7 games. They find a way to win. I don't love the Bears here. I really don't, but the teams behind them, the 49ers on defense are bad right now. They're bad. Like this, it's not just, this is critical mass for the 49ers on defense. They just can't stop anybody. And it's going to, but I will say this, the 49ers next 4 games, if you look at their schedule, they're going to be favored by probably a touchdown in each of those games. They could easily be 10-4. And one of those teams I just have no trust in because their defense can't stop anybody.
You have the Texans up 4 spots here. And I don't know what the hell I think of the Texans. Like I think that's going to have a lot to do with
defense is great. Capital G, great.
But I think that has something to do with the teams that are below the Texans.
Yep.
Let's pull up that next list because the Steelers, the Vikings, the Jags, and the Panthers, and it's like, I mean, this just feels like some of this portion here is disasters row. I'll take the Panthers out of it, but like the Steelers underperforming.
Why are you taking the Panthers out of it? The Panthers lost at home to the Saints.
No, but for my point, like the Steelers, the Vikings, and the Jags at different times this year have had big expectations. And all 3 of them find themselves now just sort of not even relevant to this conversation. I mean, I don't think any of the 4 teams listed in this bracket are actually good football teams.
No, not at all. The Steelers, I actually regretted putting the Steelers all the way up to 16. And I heard about it. They're only 16. No, they're bad. They're a bad football team. They're not winning the AFC North. They're not making the playoffs. And then we're going to have a real conversation about Mike Tomlin. Finally, a real conversation. Not this like, fire Mike Tomlin because he made the playoffs and didn't win a game. Like, no, like you blew a big lead in the division and it might be time for Mike Tomlin. I don't know. We'll see what ownership says. But yes, all the teams on this list, I'm out on the Jaguars. The Jaguars losing that game against the Texans was just confounding. And Trevor is just not it. He's just not it. It's just not happening. We got to acknowledge at this point. Bryce Young ain't happening either. Like the Panthers, everybody got a little excited about, sorry, Caroline. Everybody got a little excited about the Panthers. Ooh, the Panthers, they're 5-4. And then you go home and you lose to the Saints. I think Bryce Young had 121 yards passing or something like that against the Saints. Like this is their disappointment. You're on detention. All 4 of these teams, get out of my sight because you are so disappointing. You should be better than you are, but you're not. You're just not. None of these teams are any good.
No apologies necessary, because when you make Tyler Shuck look like he could be one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the National Football League, you deserve to lose and to drop 2 spots. I do want to go back to your Mike Tomlin point, though, because I said that at the beginning of the season, if the Steelers miss the playoffs, then we need to have legitimate conversation. I don't know why for so long the Mike Tomlin hot seat conversation has felt like it's a no-no word, or that we can't talk about it. Where are the Steelers right now? Because I can't figure out what this team is. All I can come up with is they're not a very good team. Is it time for the Steelers to just clean house? Start over?
Might be, and I've always said, and I'll say a million times, the Steelers' next coach is very unlikely to be better than Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin has a Hall of Fame resume. I'm sorry for those who hate him. Like, there's a lot of Steelers fans who just want him out the door. Fine, whatever. But he's got a Hall of Fame resume. He's probably gonna make it there someday. But at some point, things just got to change. And if you blow this big of a lead, it's not just missing the playoffs. If they would have just missed the playoffs in a normal way, like you just kind of mediocre all season, go 8-9, this team is going to be blowing. What they were up, 4 games on the Ravens at some point? Like it's a disaster for Pittsburgh to lose it this way. And the offense looked broken. The defense is just living off turnovers. If they can't turn you over, they can't stop you. I thought that loss on Sunday night against the Chargers was eye-opening. It's like, the Steelers just, I don't care what their record is. This is just not a good football team.
Tomlin's going to look good in silver and black next year on the sidelines. All right, the next grouping. Yeah, there we go. The next grouping, the Falcons, Cowboys, Bengals, Cardinals. I mean, look, we're at this. Will the return of Joe Burrow make a big difference to where you think the Bengals are, presuming he gets back by Thanksgiving?
I don't think Joe Burrow plays defensive end. I don't think so. I'll have to look. I mean, maybe he does a Travis Hunter.
He could. Have we asked him?
He might, yeah. He might. They might be asking him to, because that defense is pathetic. I see this like Joe Burrow's going to save the Bengals. Like the offense really hasn't been the problem at all. Like the Bengals offense is not the culprit here. Joe Burrow's not making that. He will make the offense better. He's Joe Burrow. He's unbelievable, right? But what is the offense going to score 70 every week? Like Joe Flacco's played far beyond my expectations. It ain't the offense, folks. The offense, Joe Burrow comes back and the offense is a little bit better than it has been. They're pretty much maxed out at this point because they're playing so well. It's the defense. The defense ain't stopping anybody. I said this on Inside Coverage yesterday. I just worry Joe Burrow's coming back too soon and the organization is screwing this up. I don't trust the Bengals here. Joe Burrow's a tough dude. I respect him. I know he wants to get back and all that, but at this, I'd rather see the Bengals just be the adults in the room and shut this down. Be better for 2026, because we ain't going anywhere with this defense anyway, Joe. Like just rest up and we'll try again next year.
Anyone who trusts the Bengals is wrong. Let's go to this next group, and we've got the Commanders, the Dolphins, the Giants, and the Jets. Nice little bump there for the crummy, crappy Dolphins after dominating the Bills. But I do want to touch on the Giants. We learned yesterday that Brian Daboll was fired as the head coach of the New York Giants. Surprise level reaction to that?
Maybe that it happened right this moment, but I'll tell you, I said this again, and as I covered yesterday, because I keep wanting to bring this up because we glossed over it when it happened. We all guffawed and we're like, oh, Brian Daboll said he was sorry. Everything's cool. When Brian Daboll against Philly on that Thursday night poked his head into the medical tent to check on Jackson Dart, who was getting checked for a concussion, and then was caught by the cameras screaming at the team doctor trying to get his quarterback back on the field, that's the moment he should have been fired. Because that showed I'm in self-preservation mode. I do not care about my rookie quarterback. Get him. Does he got a concussion or not? We don't know. We haven't done the thing. Get him out on the field. I need him on the field right now. That is the moment he should have been fired, because the Giants have a prize in Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's good. Jackson Dart, I'm sorry. I don't care. Like, I'm not doing the whole, if he develops it. No. We've seen enough. Jackson Dart's a good football player. You have to protect that guy. He does not know. He can't do it for himself. He plays too recklessly. And it's endearing, right? That's part of the reason he has this juice, but he doesn't know how to slide. But what does Brian Daboll do? Design runs, let's call some more. Like, he was in self-preservation mode. Jackson Dart was going to be back in that blue tent before the end of the season a few times, if Brian Daboll is still the coach. So, surprise level, a little bit, but I understand it completely. This was not about a 2-8 record. This was about Jackson Dart needs somebody better to look after him. And it wasn't Brian Daboll who was screaming at the team doctor on the sideline to get his quarterback back on the field when he's getting checked for a concussion.
Strong point by you, Frank. I honestly hadn't thought about it. That's a really good point by you. The last of the grouping, we'll pull it up, and I'll just say thanks, Frank. Thanks. I appreciate you not putting the Raiders at 32. I know it took a lot of constraint. There's always next week. There's plenty of time. I've got plenty of season left. Mike Tomlin, my next head coach, with the number 1 overall pick in the draft, he can get whatever quarterback he wants.
Oh, you ain't getting number 1 because the Titans ain't.
That's
come on, Frank.
Titans ain't winning again.
This is the Fernando Mendoza grouping right here.
Yeah, right.
This is Fernando. In Fernando, we trust. We always trust Frank. He's even better than Fernando. Check out his power rankings on Yahoo Sports, obviously, and check Frank out on Inside Coverage. My friend, thanks for the time this morning. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you, guys.
Frank.